Hey there DIY folk, today we are going to be working on replacing the wax seal on this toilet.
DIY with Chris, giving you the tools to do it yourself.
These are the tools that you're going to need for this job. We got a kit that has the extra thick wax ring, which was recommended for us. We're going to have a ratchet set, and this is to get the nuts up off of it so we can pull the toilet off of the base there. A towel, this is for when we pull the toilet off the base, we can put it on the towel so it doesn't get wet all over the floor. We have sponges, which will help drain some of the water as it gets further down, and it can also help clean up some of the area afterwards. We have a cup, which is going to help us drain some of the water. And lastly, we have this scraper. You can use just like a paint scraper or some razor blades or whatnot. We have this scraper to scrape up the old wax ring. So that's all the components you're going to need for this job. So this is a new house that we moved into, and we are getting a pretty putrid smell. It's like a sewage smell that is coming in. And we had a plumber come out and kind of look and see if they could figure out why in the world that was happening. Because there has been some issues with this in the past when we bought the house, so we wanted them to come and actually look at it. They couldn't see what in the world was going on. When he first looked, he has no idea exactly what the problem is without digging into it further. They quoted us $320 to replace this wax seal for this toilet. And for us to buy the supplies that we got for this, it only cost about $20. So leaves me greatly questioning why in the world it's going to cost that much. Very first thing that we want to do is shut off the water to this. So you should have a hose just like this around your toilet. It's usually on one side or the other. And first thing we're going to do is shut off the water supply. So it should just be a real simple turn. So once you have your water line turned off, we're going to come up here to the back, take the top off, and then we're going to go ahead and flush it and try to drain as much of that water out as possible. So you're going to just hold this down and try and expel as much of that water through there. So this is already drained as far as we can get it. We are going to try and get as much water as we possibly can out at this point because we don't want to get any on the floor. So we are going to take a small cup and we are going to start draining this. Once we get a little bit further down, then we also have sponges, and we're going to start doing that as well. We've got as much as we can with the cup, so now we're using the sponge to try and get this last bit out. Next thing we need to do is unattach this plumbing hose right here to it, and just be aware that if there is any water left in the tank above, or even if there isn't, there's still a good chance that this is going to leak a little bit. So we do have the towel here, and my hands are also still a little bit wet from draining the toilet, so we're going to use that to just for the most part we can hand loosen this. It is a little bit more difficult. You can probably be a little bit easier with a tool, but we're going to go ahead and unscrew this piece at this point. So there is just a little bit of water. Now that this line is unattached, we're going to go ahead and loosen these bolts. You're going to have to check and see which one is the right size for you. We are using a size 11 for ours. These are already pretty loose, so I don't need to use this very much, but hopefully yours should be tighter. And we'll do it on both sides. Now that we have everything disconnected, we're going to go ahead and lift the toilet up, and I'm going to move it right over to the towel, and we just need to be careful so you don't drag it across the floor or anything so it doesn't scratch. This is actually a pretty good sign for us because our wax ring is pretty compromised. So I'm really hoping that this does fix the issue that we're having. So the problem that we're having is that we're getting kind of a leak of the smell, essentially, from the sewage that is coming up into the house. And so we're trying to fix that. So hopefully, with how bad that is compromised, that is the problem, and we can fix that with this. So what we're going to do now is take the scraper, and we just need to get this old wax ring off, which isn't very hard at all. But you do want to get it all off and make sure that that gets nice and clean, because you want the next one to seal just fine. So our hardware kit, it is a full kit, just in case the other components were messed up as well. And the hardware kit does include these mounting bolts. We're getting ready to put this new one on, so this is the kit that we have. So these are all the components that are on it. It's this extra thick wax ring, and then it does have the nuts for securing your toilet. These are the mounting bolts, and then those essentially the washers. So here's the new wax ring, and it is in this plastic protector. And then you have the other hardware too here as well. So we don't need to replace ours right now. We'll just keep the same hardware that was there before. So this is an old wax ring. What we got to do is just get this out of the package. So it has kind of a quick tear line there already. This one does look pretty thick. I'm not sure how much thicker this is than the than the old ring that was on there, but it is the extra thick version. So that's essentially how it's going to go down. So we're going to try and just feed this straight down over top. So I'm going to move it back and kind of line up those bolts in the windows. First, and then I'm going to squish it all the way down and try and create that nice seal. The rest of the seal should be created as we put our hardware back on and and tighten down our nuts, and that should finish that, creating that seal that we want. I went ahead and replaced this with the new nuts. They did fit on there, and they are the same size. So we're going to go ahead and tighten this down. So we're going to tighten this down as much as we can so we have pretty good resistance on it. We don't want to go too tight, because we don't want to crack the base of the toilet here. Next, we need to put this hose back on and tighten it down. If you need to, make sure you use plumber's tape here. So we are going to screw it back on and test the connection. And if we need to, then we'll add that plumber's tape. And last, we are going to go ahead and turn our water supply back on. So we are going to watch for a leak here, and then go ahead and fill the toilet back up. That is good, so we do not have a leak here, so I'm not going to worry about the tape. That is it for this project. It's really simple and easy to do. It only took us maybe 15-20 minutes, and that's with the video on it. If you have any questions, please let us know. The whole purpose of these videos is that we can help you out, and if anybody has asked questions I haven't got to it, if you know the answer, please go ahead and answer that. The whole purpose is just that DIY community, so we can help each other out. If you have any specific things that you want to see done, go ahead and message us, and if I have the availability to do so, then I absolutely will. Other than that, I really hope that this helped you out, and have a great day.
DIY with Chris, giving you the tools to do it yourself. today on DIY with Chris.